Brunei is a tiny but wealthy nation on the island of Borneo, ruled by one of the world's richest men, Sultan Hassanal Bolkiah. But what about his wife, who is often seen by his side in lavish ceremonies and royal visits? Who is she, and what is her role in the oil-rich kingdom? In this video, we will take a peek inside the super luxurious life of Brunei's richest queen. Who is Queen Saleha? Pengiran Anak Saleha was born on October 7, 1946, in a village called Kampong Sumbiling, which is now part of the bustling capital city, Bandar Seri Begawan. Now, very few people know that Saleha wasn't just a regular woman who hit the royal jackpot after marrying King Hassanal Bolkiah. She was already born into the royal fold. Her father was a distant cousin of the previous sultan, and her mother was the granddaughter of another sultan. So, even before tying the knot with the king, Queen Saleha was already part of the royal family. If only everyone knew that Saleha was destined to be the Queen of Brunei. Even as a young girl, it was kind of an open secret. Her education, unlike that of the typical primary school kid, took place in a surau at Istana Darul Hana, her grandfather's palace. As a member of the royal family, Saleha didn't just receive an excellent primary education, she also attended religious classes, immersing herself in the teachings of Islam, Brunei's official religion. This marked the starting point of her journey into both spiritual and academic education. As she moved on to secondary education, Saleha continued her studies at Sekolah Tinggi Perempuan Raja Istri in her hometown. Then, she went to this fancy finishing school called Signet's House in South Kensington. If you don't know, South Kensington is like the VIP section of London, where the elite hang out for vacations. Imagine studying there. It must have brought some serious international vibes to Saleha's life. By then, she was all set to be queen material, covering everything from religious studies to rubbing shoulders with the elite in South Kensington. Young Saleha finished her educational journey in 1965, stepping into a future that looked pretty darn bright. But destiny had some other plans. On July 28, 1965, just months before her 19th birthday, Saleha tied the knot with her first cousin, Pengiran Muda Mahkota Hassanal Bolkiah. Yes, I know it might sound a bit strange that she had to marry her cousin, but in the Muslim world, it's kind of a usual thing. Surprisingly, even some European royal kings pull off the same move. It's all about keeping the power and wealth within the family and making sure it stays and flourishes through the generations. Since then, Queen Saleha has been living a quite luxurious life. Together they have 6 children, including the Crown Prince, Al-Muhtadi Billah, and, as people call him, Brunei's hot prince, Prince Abdul Mateen. Life of luxury. Imagine living in a palace with 1,788 rooms, 257 bathrooms, and a garage full of supercars. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, for Queen Saleha, this is her reality. As the Queen of Brunei, she enjoys a life of unimaginable luxury and privilege. She resides in the Istana Nurul Iman, the world's largest and most expensive palace. We're talking a staggering $1.4 billion worth of luxury, with gold, marble, crystal, and silk all over the place. The main family home is like a really extravagant and flashy palace, decorated in a style that reminds people of famous entertainers like Liberace or Elvis Presley. It's much bigger than the famous Versailles Palace and has a whopping over 500 fancy chandeliers, a mosque that can hold 1,500 people, at least 2,000 telephones, a stable for 200 polo ponies, a 5-acre garden with a swimming pool, a fountain, a huge banquet hall where 4,000 people can sit down for dinner, and whatnot. The house even has a painting by Renoir that the Sultan bought for a whopping $70 million in the 1980s. What's even more surprising is that when Sultan's friends thought the house might be too over the top, he just built another one that's less flashy for people who prefer simpler and more understated things. So he has one house for all the glitz and glamour, and another one for when he wants things a bit more toned down. Now that's what we call living a high life, isn't it? And these two aren't the only properties they own. Rumor has it that Queen Saleha and her family have countless other properties around the world, including a mansion in London, Las Vegas, and California. One of Prince Geoffrey's advisors even told Fortune magazine about the royals' wealth. With their money, they could have cured diseases. And if that's not enough, let me share one more interesting fact about their extravagance. On the Sultan's 50th birthday ceremony, he went all out and invited none other than the legendary Michael Jackson to perform. He paid the King of Pop a whopping $17 million for 3 concerts. Hassanal Bolkiah was a massive fan of Michael Jackson, and he didn't think twice about shelling out big bucks to have him on board. Because, you know, when you're a sultan, why settle for a regular birthday serenade? Queen Saleha's fashion. When it comes to fashion, how can we forget Sultan Hassanal Bolkiah? Now, hold on to your hearts because Sultan's everyday haircut might look extremely average, but its price tag is anything but ordinary. His haircut budget alone may surpass the annual budget of a small kingdom, as he reportedly spends a staggering $24,000 every month just on his hair. Perhaps his barber uses gold scissors or something each time, but when Sultan casually drops $24,000 just on a haircut, how can his wife Saleha, who is the world's wealthiest queen, lag behind in such matters? She has a wardrobe fit for a fashionista, with thousands of outfits from the most prestigious brands in the world. However, Saleha's name means pious, and she also lives up to it. Even though she could wear all the fancy clothes, she chooses to dress modestly and conservatively, staying true to Islamic traditions. She covers her hair and body with a hijab and a long dress, keeping things simple and sincere. Talking about her everyday style, she usually wears traditional Malay attire, such as baju kurung, baju Melayu, and tudong, in various colors and fabrics. She also likes to accessorize her outfits with pearls, diamonds, rubies, and other precious stones, which are often part of her remarkable jewelry collection. Among her most favorite jewels is her million-dollar tiara collection. Queen Saleha is totally obsessed with jewelry, especially when it comes to her royal tiaras. Seriously, you won't find her at any event without proudly showcasing her collection of diamond and emerald crowns. Take, for instance, this amazing tiara covered in big, colorful diamonds. She's been flaunting it since the 80s, stealing the spotlight at events like the Sultan's 25th Jubilee and the British state visit to Brunei. Oh, and there's another fabulous tiara with breathtaking pear-shaped diamonds, a timeless piece that's been Queen Saleha's go-to. Then there's this incredible tiara, which is like the family's special heirloom, decked out with 6 stunning emeralds and diamonds. This tiara has been making the rounds, gracing the heads of her daughters and daughters-in-law, passing on a legacy of beauty and grace. It's like Queen Saleha has a tiara for every occasion, and she's not afraid to flaunt it. I mean, why not? She can afford it. Sultan Hassanal Bolkiah's other wives and affairs. Despite having all that wealth, Queen Saleha's life is not without challenges and controversies. She has to share her husband with his other wives. Just so you know, the Sultan has married and divorced 2 other women and has fathered 12 children with them. He allegedly also has a harem of young and beautiful women who are reportedly selected from schools and universities. Surprisingly, Sultan and especially his spoiled brother Prince Jeffrey are infamous for their adult parties and harems, composed mainly of underage girls. One of the harem girls, Lauren, openly talks about the royal brothers. He would start opening magazines and say, "I want that woman, I want that one," and order them. Now, it's important to note that Sultan's younger brother Jeffrey was mostly involved in all of this dirty stuff and faced a lot of public criticism for it. However, there is no clear news about whether the Sultan himself was actually involved in these matters or not. But the question remains, how does Queen Saleha cope with all this? Well, she tries to ignore them and focuses on her own children and grandchildren. She also prays a lot, trusting in God's will, and respects her husband's decisions without interfering in his political matters. Anyways, that's it for today. What are your thoughts on Sultan Hassanal Bolkiah's other wives, apart from Queen Saleha, and the reasons for their divorces? Let us know in the comments below, and hit those videos on your screen, and I'll catch you there.